Hi, welcome back. So I said I would make a video about my Citsuma Prague, or Prague Chimera as it's known. So I have this one in the ground. It's about a year old. I planted it in the ground this year. So we'll see how it fares over the winter. And you can clearly see it's a chimera. There's trifoliate leaves, kind of bifoliate ones, there's monofoliate ones. It's grafted to Trifoliate. You can see the graft union. So yeah, I did grow it out for a year before I decided to put it out in the ground. That's the goal. I don't really want to overwinter this one if I don't have to. It's planted in this little patch here by the house, which has Japanese spindle, which is an evergreen shrub, sort of blocking the wind after the Maypop vines die back. There's a strawberry patch as well. Anyway, moving on, I'm going to show you the pomegranate tree. So this pomegranate tree, it's going on its third season. Last year it flowered profusely but didn't set fruit. This year it didn't make any flowers, but the tree basically doubled in size. Trunk is pretty thick. It's against this wall. It hasn't had any dieback. I'm just not sure why it didn't flower this year. The lowest was 6F, which is like minus 14.5 in Celsius. This one can apparently take down to 0, minus 18C. Okay, so I have this rootstock. It's some kind of Mandarin times Trifoliate orange. I believe it's Sunki, which is a sour mandarin. So yeah, this one's also a year old. Put it in the ground in the spring. See how it does for us. Hoping the brick wall behind it adds a little bit of a buffer from the cold. And right next to that is a fast flowering Trifoliate. This one was actually not doing well until I put it in the ground. Now it's fine. So back here I have a Tai-tri, which is Taiwanica times Trifoliate, and right next to it is Citrumelo, which is Grapefruit times Trifoliate. These are also 2 years old in the ground. They're both over 6 feet tall. The lowest they've seen is also 6F, minus 14.4C. I did end up grafting Morton Citrange to the Citrumelo as well as the Tai-tri. Here's another Morton scion down there. Up here I grafted a scion of the Prague, and it really took off. It's actually bigger than my other plant. That's fast flowering Trifoliate. There's a little Yuzu that I stuck up here. And another little Morton there. So yeah, I just want to test out how these grafts will behave on these apparently hardy hybrids. So last year, a groundhog decided to chew half the tree, but it recovered nicely. It's almost sealed over the wound. The Citrumelo took a little bit of winter damage on this bottom branch. There was a branch coming up from the ground right here, and it rotted back, so I cut it off and it seems to have healed. Might have to paint the trunk, I'm not sure. It's supposed to prevent sun injury in the winter when the bark warms up if the sun's shining, on the trunk. Back here, I have the Yuzu. It actually died to the ground. It was about 3 to 4 feet tall. But yeah, the winter proved too much for it. I had to cut back the trunk until I saw, green, healthy tissue. And that didn't happen till like ground level. And then it resprouted in June. Made a bunch of trunks. So I'm not sure. I think I might cover this one. I didn't cover it over the winter last year. But it's a seedling. Right next to it is a Trifoliate orange, which is grafted with Poncirus Plus. It's supposed to be the non-bitter Trifoliate fruit. So I have 2 grafts of that. And then I stuck a little Yuzu cyan from my mature potted Yuzu. So if this survives, we'll see how it does next year. And then I did another Prague in here. It took, but it's not growing. So maybe next season it'll push out. Yeah, it's very slow growing. So the summer was very hot this year. A lot of the native grass died and this invasive grass took over. It's everywhere. Over here are my pomegranate cuttings that I rooted earlier in the year and planted them out. I mentioned in my previous video that I had pineapple guava cuttings planted by the shed. So these are cuttings from my 2 plants. I believe they're all the same clone. They did defoliate after 6F, and they came back. They didn't flower, I'm guessing because they spent most of their energy growing their leaves back. This caliper of the trunk. Back here I have some Pawpaw seedlings. They're pretty much shaded out for most of the day, and I actually stuck another Yuzu cutting here. See how this does. Hoping the shed blocks some of the wind. Anyway, hope the pacing wasn't too bad. I'm a little bit under the weather today, so conserving my energy. If you have any questions, let me know. Bye. Hello, Mr. Boots. Show everybody your scarf. Wow. Where's your brother? Oh, there he is. We already went for walkies today. Why don't you just hang out in the catio?